Sometimes a performance is so good for a villainess that you just watch it and you're like, I loathe this person. And Mulder Stunt, who plays Dolores Umbridge, just crept into the subconscious of one of the most detestable narrative villain. Stephen King called her the most make-believe villain since Hannibal Lecter, and that is some dang high praise right there coming from the king of horror. This woman just, oof, I mean, the fact that like she's coming in as a I guess the Ministry of Magic is trying to invade Hogwarts and put in their agenda. So they decide, okay, we're going to instead have like how Barty Crouch Jr., who really accelerated the learning and like the three forbidden courses and defending themselves, defense against the dark arts. Instead, they just go back to rudimentary lessons. Like everything will be done in a safe, controlled environment. There will be no action. No one will be hurt. And just the scenes alone of her just trying to maintain her composure, but Harry is naturally rebelling. And then, of course, when she says, I must not tell lies with the special quill, and it appears on the skin right here as a permanent reminder, temporary a tattoo, if you will. It's just like, I called McGonagall kind of a B word in the third movie that I was nitpicking. I forgot how much old Toady Face is a complete virago, an ill-tempered woman, or as everyone will just say it in commonplace, a fucking bitch. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta swear just to have the cherry atop of Sunday, okay? And just a detestable, detestable individual. But anyway, things accelerate here. It's like we got introduced to the three wizarding schools that don't get mentioned again, and instead we get the politics that's going on, and it works so well because Cornelius Oswald Fudge wants to maintain because he is trying to protect his image, and despite the fact that there is a well-trusted individual who says, I implore you to see reason, Cornelius, during the trial of Harry Potter, because he performed Patronus Charm in front of Muggle 734 and Little Winging, I think. Suddenly they have this whole full-blown, what's the word I'm looking for? Courtroom drama. I'm like, all this just for something that only one person saw, and what was that? A squib, a non-magic using wizard, and just, yeah, it just goes to show the corruption and stuff going on, and just, yeah, this is definitely a more character-driven movie, in the fact that Harry feels isolated because some people are believing the Daily Prophet, their newspaper, and we actually get to see the struggles, and Radcliffe, who does some gosh darn good acting, like when he's talking about with everyone inside the Dumbledore's office, and he says the line, "Look at me!" Yells it, and it's like we can see the camera zooming in and out, and just everything is working so well. And it's like, it's like Voldemort's power is growing because he was supposedly going to, he was trying to recruit some giants. That's expanded more in the book with Maxine and Hagrid going to talk to one of the leaders and stuff like that. And, it's just nice to see. It's nice to see some actual increasing tension going on. Of course, all the Stuart Craig, who does all the sets, just crafted some fantastic, amazing sets in here. I mean, particularly in the Ministry of Magic with the black and white noir, I guess they would be described as postmodern noir, I guess would be black and white. Kind of like when Moe's bar in The Simpsons got that makeover that one episode. That would be the best way to describe it. And just just the eye, just like in the like in the books, they all separated and went through so many different rooms, including brains and everything. Like it's like it was such a large book. It was truly insane, and just I mean, it's bigger than this pack. It was bigger than this package of Oreos. And just that scene alone with all the action going on. I mean, this movie is greatly choreographed. Because when and it's just looking at it's like the long take of all the action going on and everything else. I mean, seeing the Ministry of Magic and just how corrupt it's getting. But finally, towards the end, when all the Death Eaters are there, they and all the action chasing scenes going on, finally getting down to this veil or the empty archway, which is from the phrase "beyond the pale," P-A-L-E. That was in the expanded Potter folklore. It's been there since what, at least at minimum the 1300s. And I would have liked, and it's like it did take that. I mean, it's a beautiful visual because visually this movie is stunning, darker tone, and they got David Yates, who worked for the BBC. I think something with, what was that, sex trafficking or something like that. He showed how visceral and real it is, and they brought him in to kind of like pilot the rest of the series, and it does such a good job, with the exception of what is that? The sixth movie, The Half-Blood Prince. This film is absolutely fantastic, and of course we get Helena Bonham Carter, who also steals the show as Bellatrix Lestrange, and wow, she is just unhinged, is the word. Just absolutely does not care, and when we see her escape from Azkaban, which is, I'm guessing, their version of Alcatraz, because it even takes place in the ocean, so I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of glad we get to see her in 4 movies total. And of course, Gary Oldman, who returns as Sirius Black, who also plays Detective Jim Gordon in the Batman series. Yeah, an expanded role, explains his family tree and how he was ostracized because he didn't believe in their pure blood beliefs, and it's just I'm like, yeah, you actually feel he's being more of a family member than just appearing in a fire as part of the Flu Network for 2 minutes. I'm like, good, give him something else to do. Thank you. Maybe he didn't appear in the 4th one because it was filming for, what was that, Batman, like Dark Knight? Anyway, it's just, this movie feels more whole and complete. The great transition that was needed, It's just, I mean, even the Dursleys themselves, it's like they're still there as kind of the comic relief, and we're used to them, and it's like, hey, if it makes them, if it's it's like the military in Godzilla, you gotta have them, you gotta have the Dursleys, and it's like, I like that. Yeah, no Quidditch this season, which honestly I felt kind of would have detracted from the more serious tone of the movie. I mean, and it's like, hey, we'll take that. So it's all just what makes this arguably my personal favorite thus far of the franchise. So, it's like I was looking at like roughly about not halfway through when they're inside Grim Old Place, talking about the Order and everything, and it's just like good stuff. And of course, when the students form Dumbledore's army, and we finally get to see the expansion of, like, hey, because Umbridge is such a virago that it's like the school itself is telling them to fight back and revolt, and just dang, David Bradley, who plays Filch, always comical, but the scenes where he's like putting up the decrees from Dolores, you can tell it's both kind of, it's like the zoom ins and the giant ladder that he's climbing. It's like, it's still kind of a funny sight, but again, the humor's there, but it's not as in your face as like part of the scene, if you will, part of the scenery. It doesn't stand out like a sore thumb Or if I were to like show a piece of cheese, but it was all moldy, and I'm looking at like this instead of just it being a regular slice of cheese, just like that. So, if I had to nitpick, I don't know. I really can't think of anything to say because it's like this movie, and maybe seeing Voldemort in a suit was weird. I'm like, okay, is he like trying to be a part of Harry's mind? Is he trying to show that Voldemort has control? What's going on here, and why can we get a little bit more of Rafe Fiennes? Maybe just a little bit more. Show him visually trying to recruit someone. I don't know. That's just what I would like maybe for a POV, but that's really all I can think of. So those are my thoughts on Order of the Phoenix.